Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Time for another live show adaptation, one I did twice in 2014, Planet of Atop the Fourth Wall Live. But hey, this one's a live show that's relevant to past episodes I've made, the early Star Trek The Next Generation comics. If you have somehow missed out on the absolutely god-awful first comics featuring the crew of the Enterprise D, I highly recommend you go back and check them out. The first one I covered was a Christmas comic featuring alien Grinches. No, I'm not exaggerating. It's literally a race made up of Grinches. I did that review entirely in rhyme. And yet they never bothered to bring these guys back for a Halloween issue homaging Grinch Night? What was even the point of it all then? The other issues we covered included a three-parter where Q shows up, acts weirdly cryptic and out of character, and everyone does JoJo posing because the creators really did not know how to draw these people unless they were constantly at a model's photo shoot. The penciler, Pablo Marcos, is actually a bit of a legend in the industry and done a ton of books, including still doing many more Next Generation comics after the 6-issue miniseries, and they are considerably more restrained than the miniseries, so maybe an editor finally reined in the attempts at making everyone look like they can't sit still. But this is the comic where it all started, the very first TNG comic. So let's dig into Star Trek The Next Generation, #1, and see what goofiness ensued. The cover is not very good. Oh sure, all the little diagrams and Okuda drawings are quite impressive, but for a comic cover, they don't exactly draw the reader in. Just random diagrams of the ship, the Federation logo. It's all just visual noise for no good reason. We do have the ship itself, which is slightly off model. The underside of the star drive section looks like it's really curved when it's not. But hey, at least it pays homage to the old Gold Key comics by artists not understanding what the nacelles do, because the Picard collectors look more like headlights in this. And while I know it's just for artistic effect, the ship appears to be going backwards thanks to the motion lines extending past it. To boldly go in reverse. Some of the diagrams of the Enterprise are repeated and copied, as if they were reflected somewhere. My friends, we have finally discovered what the hell multimodal reflection sorting is! I don't see how that helps us examine the subspace signals between Locutus and the Borg ship, but there you go! We open in space, where it is the final frontier. Aside from other dimensions, other forms of consciousness, time travel, and basically all the other frontiers that we haven't quite gotten to yet. But maybe it's final in the way that Friday the 13th Part 4 is the final chapter. I would say with the way the panels are progressing that this is meant to be like the opening theme song of the show, but I don't quite recall the Enterprise flying out of the sun at the end like this one does in the last panel. Or perhaps they realized how bad this comic was going to be, so they decided to just fly into the sun and end it now. We have an, at first, pretty gorgeous 2-page spread of the Enterprise D flying across space. Space is full of weird nebula, clouds, stars, Kirby crackle, it's all good stuff. At least until you notice some little things, like how the angle the Enterprise is flying seems kinda weird given the motion trail behind it. In fact, it seems to indicate that the ship is flying sideways. Which, to be fair, sometimes if you actually paid attention to the layout of where certain rooms should be, looking out a window seemed to indicate they were doing just that. It's even worse if you think those 3 weird orange streaks in the back are supposed to be motion lines too. And if they're not, What the hell are they? They just stop when they reach the ship. The first issue is titled, Where No One Has Gone Before. And aside from the fact that we've had 2 episodes of Star Trek already called that, with slight modification of course, it is a blatant lie of a title, since they will be traveling to a planet in this comic fully populated by people, so they are actually just boldly going second. But hey, semantics! Humans haven't gone here before, and they're the only ones that count. Captain's log, stardate 41187.5. The USS Enterprise slices through the pitch thickness of an unmapped sector like a shaft. Ah yes, a shaft, known for... slicing? Her own legend, and those of her predecessors, serving us as fuel for this and all her subsequent missions. And yet the gas price for that fuel is still way too expensive. Traveling with us, the constant reminder of why we're out here. Families. We are reminded that we want to get away from our families, but they won't leave us alone. Most notably children. The generations of the future who deserve to know what's out here in order to press on. Their very presence is my pressure to perform. Our need to succeed. We'll just ignore the first episode of the damn show where I made it explicitly clear that I hate children and I don't want to see them at all. Like, it really does make me wonder what production material they provided to the creators. I can see them getting the characters' voices wrong. I can see them not quite getting Data because the first episode was a little inconsistent with how, as an android, he worked. I could even see them peppering in bits of character backstory like they did with Tasha, even though her backstory didn't factor into much of the show's first season. But Picard's dislike of families on starships and wanting to not have children around is like one of those things that we are still making jokes about today, even though over the years he softened on it. We then see the bridge of the Enterprise in a 2-page spread that seems off. I can't exactly say for certain what it is. It seems like the proportions are wrong, like it's been stretched or squished in certain areas. For starters, the artist apparently couldn't decide which turbolift the guy who's split in the middle of the pages came off of, because both turbolift doors are open. Data's chair seems to be really wonky, like he adjusted the angle on it so he was rolling off to the side. Hell, both Khan and Ops have been pulled back towards the command chairs instead of closer to the view screen. Looks like a really high ceiling on the bridge, but look at Troy in her chair. Her legs are so long that I feel like she could jump and touch the ceiling without any effort. Hell, the command chairs seem really low to the ground, accounting for Troy being able to look like she's lounging around flat while Picard's knees are up. Riker is not sitting normally, which is in fact the most normal thing about this shot. Like, they clearly have reference photos to go with here, since it looks overall like the bridge. It's just all the little details are wrong. It's as if they started drawing it one way, realized their mistake, but didn't bother to go fix everything else that wasn't right when they were done. And that's not even getting into the dialogue. As you predicted, Counselor Troy, a rather uneventful transport through the sector. Much the way I prefer long treks. Considering the entire series is, well, a trek, saying that things should be uneventful is not a good way to keep your audience's interest. My record for faultless projections is not quite 100%. As a matter of fact, I've never truly been comfortable sharing my visions as any kind of gauge, since the margin for error is a distinct reality. Wait, she has visions of the future? Okay, in that Grinch comic I mentioned, she was a full-on telepath too. Why is it that these comics are giving her every psychic power in the book? Except for the one she had on the show! Data interrupts to mention that they're entering the Tri-Beta Line star system. I realize this may sound odd, but I'm very excited about this mission. Considering you don't have any emotions, Data, that is very odd. Seems you're excited about each and every mission, Lieutenant Commander Data. Okay, but the last time on the show he got excited about something, it was from killing things, so that's probably a bad sign. As Picard monologues about how interesting it'll be seeing the local life on the planet they're approaching, Riker feels the need to practice his upcoming modeling career in his chair. Comfortable, Mr. Riker? I should hope so. We see a lot of Federation ships over the years, and honestly, the Enterprise D is the one I'd want to live on. It's probably the comfiest and most pleasant ship interior in Star Trek. And of course, Riker, embarrassed, sits normally. Still a bit conscious of Captain Picard's reputation. Trying to relax. Trying a little too hard. I hope Picard-senpai notices me. Picard orders Worf to start collecting information about the planet while making a gun gesture with his hand. Bazow, bazow! I got you, Mr. Worf! You're it now! This gesture is really giving me Scarlet Witch pointing at someone leads to disaster vibes with it. Worf reports that they're not getting much from the range they're at, and they'll wait a little bit to get anything else. In the time it's taken for you to report, Mr. Worf, we probably come within range. I'm well aware of that, sir. But a little small talk doesn't hurt either. Worf, Klingon warrior, honor is his watchword, the truest Klingon and the embodiment of their ideals. Also known for his propensity for small talk, I guess. Anyway, the computer starts giving out information on the planet, including that there are sapient humanoids who are the dominant species of the world. Mr. Worf, establish contact with the sentients. We don't know their technological level, or if they even know any other life exists in the universe, but yeah, I never really liked the Prime Directive anyway. We've got sales quotas to make, damn it! However, he's interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Crusher. Captain, excuse the interruption, but this has gone on long enough. I'm tired of having my comic panels slanted at a bizarre angle for no reason. No, she's complaining about having waited weeks for certain medical supplies to arrive, which I feel is something that probably should be brought up during a staff meeting, not just storming onto the bridge to yell about it. Oh, and for some reason she brought Wesley with her. He has no reason to be here. He just hangs around his mother like a sad puppy and has no social life. Dr. Crusher, you're abusing your bridge clearance. This is not the time or place for this discussion, and I've told you before about bringing your son up here. The generations of the future need to know what's out there in order to press on, but being up here doing that causes me pressure to perform, damn it. I was about to get as comfortable as Commander Riker. They're interrupted again, this time by the actual inhabitants of the planet, the Syntagis Tholuvians, who say over audio that they love meeting new life forms and invite them to come on down. Picard tells Riker to assemble a diplomatic away team. Captain, since the natives seem friendly, will you require my services any further? No, Lieutenant Yar. You are relieved of bridge duty. I mean, it's not like the aliens could actually be hostile or that the diplomatic away team could need security, Lieutenant Yar. No, just go knock off for the day. And indeed, before Picard and Crusher can get into another argument about medical supplies, the ship suddenly lurches as if it was hit by something. But no, that's fine, Yar. Go take your lunch break. We got this. Picard orders everyone back to their posts, and indeed, the planet fired upon them. Wesley inflicts himself on us by scrunching himself up really weird and telling Yar how to do her job. Shouldn't we have our shields up? Lieutenant, channel the ship's auxiliary power to deflectors. I'm Chief Security Officer, kid. I know how to activate the deflector shields. What I don't know is when it's appropriate to take my 15-minute break. Doctor, take your son and vacate my bridge immediately. We cannot have the distractions you're causing while under fire. I mean, I do approve of you distracting me. It's why I'm giving you this thumbs up, but not while your son is around. It makes it kind of weird. The Tholuvians report that they're not firing on them, despite the fact that they are very clearly firing on them. One minute they tell us they're peace-loving, the next they're taking pot shots at us. It's like the old Star Trekkin' song from the Dr. Demento show. We come in peace, shoot to kill! Attention travelers, we have done nothing. We have initiated neither offensive action.
So it's a peace-loving death ray.
Worf suggests that it's a neighboring country or something other than the ones they made contact with, but scans indicate that the Tholuvians only have a single city-state on their world. Only a single city on the entire planet? The Tholuvians must not mind urban sprawl. Picard invites Riker and Troy into a meeting in his ready room to get input from them on what to do. He wonders if they should still try to send down an away team. And I wonder why they don't ask the Tholuvians who the hell did shoot at them if they're not responsible. And just to show how brilliant these people have been at forward thinking, only now does Troy recommend that they bring Yar along as a security precaution. They weren't gonna send any security before, and you needed Troy to point it out to you?
This is a real low point. Yeah, this one hurts.
Troy's job on the bridge is often to just state the blindingly obvious, so her talent for that is finally being utilized well, but only because everybody else is a moron. Shouldn't be anything but standard diplomatic procedures if all goes well. They have fired on you twice! Troy suggests that she come along as well, since her abilities may help them figure out what the deal is with the attack on them. Deanna, I'm afraid I cannot let what's happened between us before stand in the way of the success of our meeting with the Tholuvians. So come on. Okay. Thanks for stating that, Riker. How would we ever get by without you providing exposition to your ex-girlfriend about things she's already aware of? And what the hell are you talking about? Are you saying you're gonna risk having a boner with her around or something? So, who's in the mood for something silly and stupid, I mean, besides all the stuff we've already seen. An announcement goes out on the ship signaling for the backup officers for the con and operations positions on the bridge, since both Geordi and Data are on the away team, and we meet those replacement officers. The Bickleys! A husband and wife who, as their name suggests, bicker. That's the joke! And as we see here, the call apparently interrupted them changing into their Doctor Doom cosplays. I mean, just... what? With the capes and no pants for either of them? I mean, I know Star Trek Online allows for a lot of uniform customization, but I don't quite recall capes being standard attire during the show. Although now suddenly I wish they were. But yeah, they bicker and fight. They even say they need to stop bickering and yelling at each other when they reach the bridge, and then they continue even when they're on the bridge. I would tell you what they're saying, but it's all just noise. Stuff like, "You take too long to change," or "You're stupid." And it's all pretty irrelevant considering everyone has proven to be stupid today. I have to imagine the Bickleys were strictly the invention of the comic creators, but even still, why? Why invent two characters from the book who serve no narrative purpose but to argue with each other? If it was comic relief, I think you can tell by the tone of my voice how funny I find them! Just what motivated the creation of these two? A husband and wife team who exist purely to irritatingly yell at each other and act unprofessional on the flagship of the Federation? Did they run into the Gene Roddenberry edict that nobody in the future is allowed to fight with each other, so this was a protest move for the comic? Even Picard is sick of this crap, but apparently while Picard is perfectly capable of telling Crusher to shut up and take her idiot son off the bridge, he can't tell two people to stop fighting or else they're fired. "This is but one of the reasons I'm still not sold on having families aboard starships." Okay, 1, they're married and both in Starfleet. The fact that they fight isn't good enough reason to not have families on the ship. 2, was it a mirror universe Picard who did that opening narration? You seemed pretty on board with the idea of families on the ship during that. Or are you just covering your ass for Starfleet when they read your logs? Also, the artist is apparently under the impression that the turbolift doors are always open. Why? Not even elevators at the time did that. Picard is told that the away team is ready to beam down, which means that he decides to head to the transporter room even though he's not going himself. "Take me to Deck D." Deck D's nuts, computer! Oh, I'm glad we brought that back for the 24th century. Minor point here, but the decks of this Enterprise used numbers, not letters. How do you get things wrong like that? Was it a detail they were gonna do in the early production? Or were they just stupid? Never assume that stupid isn't an option. Upon emerging from the turbolift, Picard runs into Wesley. Oh goody. Wesley has decided to act like he's sneaking around, judging by the way his shoulders are pushed up and he's getting ready to do jazz hands. "Are you going down to Syntagus the Louvre, sir? Are you gonna kick their alien butts for attacking us? Or are you gonna follow the Federation's prime directive and lay off?"
Shut up, Wesley.
I guess the prime directive in those early days was, it is forbidden to fight back if someone shoots at you. This is exactly why I have that theory that Starfleet only has 2 ships active at any given time, you know. "Young Mr. Crusher, I most certainly am not going down to kick any butts." Picard's iconic catchphrase. "Surely Federation Regulation 12... Okay, what the hell is Wesley doing there with his hand? Is this some kind of gang sign? "Live long and prosper, human style." Even his posture and the way he's standing are weird. Is he doing some weird dance, or is talking to Picard like this giving him the heebie-jeebies? Dr. Crusher runs into them too and tells Wesley to scram while she leans against the doorway as if she was posing for a bit more mature version of this show. "Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my hypo spray." Dr. Crusher tells Picard to talk to the hand. Or she's about to fire a key blast at him, I guess. Anyway, it's character backstory that was already established on the show, and therefore this is just painful exposition about their history together. He delivered her husband's body back to her, they had been friends before, and dear lord, this is an awkward way of framing these panels. Makes it look like Dr. Crusher is 2 feet taller than Picard. Picard continues on his way to the transporter room, and now Riker is in the same pose that Dr. Crusher was in, leaning against the door. "Oh dear, Captain, I seem to have dropped my hypo spray." And the reason that Picard is in the transporter room? So he can brief the away team, since apparently doing that while they were already all on the bridge would have just been impossible. It's not like the captain should be on the bridge while the ship is being fired upon or anything. He explains each of their duties in the mission, though Geordi only gets, "Your past contributions to away missions make you an asset to any team." Whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. Maybe he just figures that the Tholuvians are big fans of reading Rainbow. "Commander Deanna Troi, your abilities as a telepath are of obvious value when meeting new life forms. The Tholuvians' true motives are our main concern in this mission, so be sure to invade their privacy. Who gives a crap about their rights?" So they beam down into a forest, apparently, and not an embassy like the Tholuvians said they'd be beaming to. Seems like that's the kind of thing a normal scan would pick up, but whatever. Point is, they get fired upon as soon as they arrive. A combination of Geordi's visor and Troy's abilities let them quickly find their attackers, and Tasha readies her phaser to fire back. However, Riker orders her not to. "We cannot afford to make any diplomatic errors in judgment. Not yet. Captain Picard made it clear that we are to strive for a positive first contact. It would be a diplomatic faux pas if we didn't let them kill us all." I do not get this comic. Just because you come in peace does not mean everybody else does. Oh, and of course, what's even better? The Toluvians have come armed with a giant battle wagon covered in guns. This is definitely the best time to not get your weapons ready. As the battle wagon starts opening fire, Tasha suggests they split up to make it harder for them to hit. Riker finally letting her use the damn phaser. Though be careful, the diplomatic negotiations you're going through right now are very delicate. I'd hate for them to become aggressive towards you or anything. Back on board the Enterprise, Worf reports that the Toluvians are still waiting for the landing party to arrive. Picard quickly orders the pantsless Bickleys to find the away team and not argue with one another, or else they'll be confined to quarters. I'm guessing whatever airborne virus that made everyone stupid, probably released by Wesley, just a guess, is finally wearing off. It's always like this when I send people down alone. So far from the ship. Officers showing up with no pants and aliens not being helpful. Must be Thursday. Back on the planet, Geordi and Data are still looking around to figure out where they are, and the battle wagon attack seems to have stopped for the moment. Geordi points out that he doesn't like the quiet, and Data concurs. It's strange. When the bombs are falling, my android fluid really gets flowing, and there's nothing like the threat of termination to make you really feel alive. Geordi, I insist you begin shooting at me so that I might feel alive. The battle wagon finds them again and aims its big friggin' cannon right at them. How the hell did that thing sneak up on you guys? While Riker and Troy fail to get in touch with the Enterprise, and Troy admits her own telepathy is getting interfered with, Data and Geordi make a run for it. They soon find themselves cornered in a rock wall. A hatch on top of the battle wagon opens, revealing this He-Man wannabe who is holding both a laser gun and a giant bow. You are mine, strangers. You can run no further. I have won the game. I shall now put a swear word in place of my name on the high score screen. Like a true warrior. Data and Geordi surrender, but Tasha then swings down and kicks He-Man down. She had snuck onto the battle wagon and remained unnoticed by it because it was so huge. Data remarks that it's odd that the vehicle would only have one operator, but reinforcements for He-Man quickly arrive, which doesn't really answer the question Data raised unless the implication is that the thing emptied out and they swung over around the group to outflank them. The crew take cover, Data climbing up the battle wagon so he can take control of it. He soon has it and begins shooting at the reinforcements with their own battle wagon. And this is why you don't leave your keys in the car. The attackers surrender, but the response to this is strange. Let us go, or we'll tell! I think negotiations may have actually broken down because their moms yelled out that lunch was ready. Troy and Riker arrive, and she explains that these attackers, they were just playing. This is confirmed by her reading their minds, because of course she can do that in this comic. On board the ship, the Bickleys are able to get a lock on the away team, but the Toluvians contact them and say they know what happened and they'll handle it themselves. A huge vessel appears overhead of the away team and tells them they'll be transported aboard. Soon aboard the ship, three figures appear in shadow and say the attackers will be sent to their quarters. Shooting at the peace delegation? You are grounded, young man! Oh, if only I were kidding. Riker demands the shadowy figures come out of said shadows. We are ashamed of how you have been welcomed to our world. Yes, we will do anything to atone for the actions of our children. Yep, take a good look at this, people.
Well, what do you know? It's not every day you see the stupidest thing you've ever seen.
Please step closer. My people are anxious to work with your people towards the goal of peaceful coexistence. We can join together by playing this new Nintendo console I'm strapped into. They're always innovating controller design. We have not had a war here in centuries, despite the fact that the young ones still like to play at it. Hard to have a war when everyone is locked into hover booster seats. What kind of mileage do you get on that thing? Riker greets them openly and is not making any judgment about this, but Geordi points out what's going on. You mean they age backwards? Apparently, yeah! That's how that works in this comic! The kids are adults and the adults are kids! And that makes absolutely no friggin' sense, not even for aliens! That is just not how biology works! Hell, considering how tiny they are, do they give birth to full-size people? How? Or do they start small, grow big, and then shrink again for no reason? By the by, there was actually an episode of Star Trek Voyager that did this too. And you know what? That episode sucked and also made no sense! On top of that, if the kids are actually the adults, why do they feel the need to have the Scooty Puff Juniors that this guy is plugged into? It's like a big wheel of the future. And why do they let the kids have battle wagons and surface-to-orbital lasers?
It just raises too many questions.
The guy invites Picard over because of his restraint from launching any kind of retaliatory attack on them, and indeed, Picard is ready to beam over in his bizarre brown diplomatic jacket thing that he also wore in the Grinch comic. What the hell is that thing? Does he have different casual wear for every situation?
Fetch me my warrior, Moo.
However, Wesley still needs to shove his face into things that don't concern him, running into the transporter room. And so our comic ends with this exchange. Do you think that I could maybe one day go on one of these safe diplomatic type away missions? Wesley, these trips are absolutely no place for children? Ah! Ha 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 ha! Da 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 da! Dumb! This comic sucks! The dialogue is stilted, the artwork bizarre at times, with everyone making exaggerated gestures, the characters are morons, Wesley is somehow more annoying here than on the show, and the science is just... wow! It's hilarious and it's so bad it's good qualities, but can you believe that this was the first outing for the Next Generation crew in comics? Seasons 1 and 2 of TNG were often bad for similar reasons. Bad dialogue, goofy premises, and an atmosphere that felt like they were trying to do 60s TV but in the 80s, combined with 80s cheese and a sense of smug superiority, and yet as stupid as it sometimes got, as offensive as it sometimes was, it has never been sillier than it is here with the Bickleys, the posing, the ludicrous plot, the complete misunderstanding of its own characters, and oh yes, haven't mentioned this yet, everyone's outfits are so tight that all the Starfleet crew look like their outfits have been spray painted on with visible abs and pecs. Not just boob socks for women. It's awful, but it's also hilarious, and I recommend checking it out just for that at least. And with that, there's only one more issue of this mini-series left to cover, and it's not going to be this year. We need to get back to the not live show adaptations again. I'll thank you two to spare us all your domestic problems for a change. Just do something about finding my team, or you'll find yourselves confined to your quarters. Together!
Could you please continue the petty bickering? I find it most intriguing.
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon, buy merch from the store envy link in the description, or check out the t-shirts available from Teespring. Thanks for watching!